Ngozi was only 21, a university student with a secret that could destroy her life. For 9 months, she carried her shame in silence, hiding in her friend's small room off campus. She didn't know who the father was. Her reckless life had left her confused and broken. On a stormy night, her body shook with labor pains. No doctor, no family, no midwife, just sweat, blood, and muffled screams. Hours later, a weak cry pierced the night she had given birth to a baby boy. But instead of joy, terror filled her. What will people say? My parents will kill me. My future is gone. Her eyes hardened. She wrapped the child in a cloth and slipped out into the darkness. Her footsteps led her to a lonely tree at the edge of the bush. With trembling hands, she began to dig into the wet soil. The baby whimpered, his cry soft but haunting. Ngozi raised him up, her heart torn between fear and mercy. If I end this now, nobody will ever know. But just as she was about to cover the tiny body with earth, a mysterious voice thundered through the night. Do not touch that child. He carries destiny. Ngozi froze, her hands shaking violently. She looked around, but the bush was empty. Fear gripped her. Dropping the baby, she turned and ran into the darkness, her screams swallowed by the night. Moments later, footsteps approached. A passerby, Mr. Okafor, a humble schoolteacher, heard the cry. He found the baby lying helpless beneath the tree, his eyes wide open as though he had been waiting for salvation. Lifting the child into his arms, Mr. Okafor whispered with trembling lips, "You will live, little one. Even if the world rejects you, heaven has chosen you." And that was the beginning of a story no one in the village would ever forget. Mr. Okafor and his wife had no children of their own. When he carried the baby into their small home, Mama Ifeama's eyes filled with tears. She wrapped a crying child against her chest and said softly, "This is not an ordinary child. God himself has placed him in our arms." They named him Chimela. God has done it. Life was not easy. The Okafors were poor, living in a one-room house and surviving on a teacher's meager salary. But they gave Chimela what money could not buy: love, discipline, and faith. As Chimela grew, everyone noticed something unusual about him. He was bright, curious, and always helping others. Even when he had little, he shared with children who had less. Villagers whispered, "That boy is different. His star is shining." Meanwhile, far away in the city, Ngozi was haunted by guilt. She tried to bury the memory of the child she abandoned, but every night she dreamed of his cry. She often wondered, did he die? Or did someone find him? She did not know that her son was alive, growing, learning, and carrying a destiny that would one day shake the world. Growing up in the Okafor family was not easy. Mr. Okafor's little teachers' salary could barely feed them. Many nights, Chimela went to bed hungry. Sometimes, they drank only gari and water to survive. Other children mocked him in school because of his torn uniforms and worn-out sandals. "See, poor boy," they laughed. "He can never be anything." But Chimela never answered back. He studied harder. At night, when others slept, he read his books under a kerosene lantern, promising himself that poverty would not define his future. When Mr. Okafor fell sick and could no longer teach, things grew worse. Mama Ifeama washed clothes for neighbors just to buy food. Chimela, though still a boy, started doing small jobs carrying loads in the market, selling pure water, even shining shoes just to help his foster parents. Many times, he felt like giving up, but each time, he remembered the words Mr. Okafor used to tell him. "My son, suffering is a teacher. Endure it, and one day, it will make you strong." Through hunger, mockery, and hardship, Chimela's spirit was tested. Yet, instead of breaking him, it sharpened his mind and hardened his determination. Deep inside, he knew this suffering is not the end. It is only the beginning. After years of hunger, ridicule, and struggle, Chimela finally finished secondary school with the highest results in his class. But there was a problem: his foster parents could not afford university fees. For weeks, Chimela walked from office to office in the town, begging for scholarships, but doors kept closing. Some people mocked him, saying, "Poor boy, go and learn carpentry. School is not for your type." But Chimela refused to give up. One day, he saw a notice about a national essay competition. The prize was a full scholarship. With only a biro and borrowed paper, he poured out his heart, writing about poverty, resilience, and hope. Weeks later, a letter arrived. Chimela had not only won, he came first in the entire country. His story touched the hearts of judges, and he was awarded a scholarship to study at university. At the university, Chimela wasted no time. He saw the problems around him, students struggling with printing, food, and basic supplies, and he began small hustles. With just 2,000 naira saved, he started a mini printing business. Then he expanded into supplying textbooks. Step by step, his ideas turned into income. By his final year, Chimela was no longer the poor boy in torn sandals. He was known as the student CEO, admired by many for his honesty and brilliance. His foster parents, who once feared he would die in poverty, now smiled with pride. But destiny was not done with him. Chimela's rise was only beginning, and the path ahead would test him even more. After graduation, Chimela refused to chase government jobs like his mates. Instead, he carried his small savings and bold ideas into the city. He rented a tiny one-room apartment, using half of it as his office. His first company was a technology startup. He built simple apps to help students order books, share lecture notes, and even find accommodation. At first, nobody believed in him. Investors laughed. Friends doubted, and even his foster mother worried that he was wasting his life. For months, Chimela lived on bread and water, often sleeping on the floor of his office. There were nights he cried silently, asking God why success was so far. But one breakthrough changed everything. He, foreign investor attending a university conference, stumbled upon Chimela's app and was impressed with the single deal. Chimela's small company expanded beyond his imagination. From there, his ideas grew like wildfire, spreading to businesses, schools, and even government offices. At only 30, Chimela became a billionaire entrepreneur, celebrated across the nation. Yet, in his heart, he never forgot the hungry nights, the torn sandals, or the prayers of Mr. and Mrs. Okafor. He returned to his village, not with pride, but with gratitude, building schools, hospitals, and housing for the poor. The boy who was once abandoned under a tree had become a symbol of hope. His life shouted one message to the world: your beginning does not decide your end. When Chimela returned to the village, the whole place stood still. He did not come empty-handed. Convoys of cars followed him, and everyone rushed to see the boy who had once been rejected but was now a billionaire. He walked straight to the old man and woman who had raised him, the ones who found him under the tree. That night, with tears in his eyes, Chimela held their hands. "Papa, Mama, pack your things from today. You are coming with me to the city. You will never know suffering again." The crowd shouted for joy, praising his kindness. But far away in another compound, Ngozi, his real mother, was living in sorrow. She had married a man, but after many years, no child came. Her husband had grown cold. "If you cannot give me a son, I will drive you out," he warned her. One night her heart ached, but she kept silent. She never knew the son she abandoned had become the nation's pride. The turning point came one Sunday morning after church. Chimela's foster parents sat him down, their faces heavy with worrying. "Son," the old man began, "there is something you must know." Chimela frowned. "What is it, Papa?" The old woman burst into tears. "We are not your real parents." The words cut through Chimela's chest. He staggered to his feet. "What are you saying? You are my real parents. You raised me, fed me, clothed me. If you are not, then who am I?" The old man sighed deeply. His voice shook as he revealed the truth. "We found you many years ago. In the bush, your own mother was trying to bury you alive. We could not let you die. So we took you as our own. Chimela's eyes filled with tears. He fell to his knees, crying like the little boy he once was. Why didn't you tell me all these years? The old man placed a trembling hand on his shoulder. Because we loved you too much. But now you are a man, you deserve to know the truth. And yes, I know your real mother. At that moment, Chimela wiped his tears. His jaw tightened. His heart burned with both pain and curiosity. Then take me to her. If she tried to end my life, she must now face the man I have become, and with that, the search for his real mother began. The sun was hot over the village when Chimela's foster father led him to a small compound. They stopped in front of a tired woman, Ngozi, who was washing clothes with trembling hands. The old man's voice was heavy. He pointed at her. Chimela, this is your mother. The world froze. Chimela's heart pounded in his chest. He stared at the woman, his face twisted with anger and disbelief. My mother, this wicked woman, the one who left me in the bush to die, the one who wanted to bury me alive. Ngozi dropped to her knees, weeping bitterly. My son, forgive me. I was young. I was foolish. I had no money, no strength. Please, my child, forgive me. But Chimela's voice thundered through the air. Forgive you? You thought I was dead because you wanted me dead. You never came back to check if I was alive. Tell me, where is my father? Ngozi's tears streamed down her face as she tried to explain. My son, I was still in school. I had no one. I was sleeping with different men. I don't even know who your father is. I only wanted to continue my education. I was afraid. Chimela's eyes burned with fire. He clenched his fists. That is not an excuse. Many women suffer, yet they protect their children. He pointed at her with trembling hands. You chose shame over love. You chose your future over my life. The villagers gasped, some covering their mouths in shock. Ngozi crawled closer, grabbing his feet. Please, my son, I beg you. Don't let my sin destroy us. I am still your mother. But Chimela turned his face away. Tears falling silently, he whispered, a mother gives life. You tried to take mine. He pulled his feet from her hands and walked away, leaving her crying on the bare ground. The foster father sighed, his eyes filled with sadness. The truth is out, but destiny will decide the rest. The city streets glittered with lights as Chimela's convoy rolled in. Behind him sat the two old parents who had raised him with love and sacrifice. Their eyes shone with pride, yet their hearts were heavy. That night in the mansion Chimela had bought for them, they sat him down. The old woman's voice shook as she spoke. My son, you have done well for us, but one thing remains. Forgive your mother. Chimela's face hardened. Mama, you want me to forgive the woman who left me to die? The woman who abandoned me in the bush like an animal? The old man sighed. Yes, she failed you, but forgiveness is not for her alone. It is for your own peace. Think about it, my son. Chimela leaned back in his chair, staring at the moon. His chest rose and fell. I will think about it, he finally said, his voice heavy with pain. Days passed. Then one morning at his company headquarters, the entire office went silent. A woman had walked in, her clothes dusty, her eyes swollen from crying. She pushed past the guards. The office was silent as Ngozi fell on her knees before Chimela, tears streaming down her cheeks. My son, please, forgive me. I was young and afraid. I made the greatest mistake of my life. I left you to die, but God saved you. Please, forgive me. Chimela's eyes were cold, his chest heavy with pain. He bent slightly, his voice shaking with both anger and sorrow. Forgive you. Yes, I forgive you, but I cannot accept you into my life. You chose to bury me. You abandoned me. I already have a mother, the one who raised me. She is my true mother. And the man who picked me from the bush is my true father. Ngozi cried louder, crawling closer to him. But Chimela stepped back. His words cut deeper than a knife. You gave me life, but you also tried to take it away. Forgiveness does not mean acceptance. My heart belongs to the parents who loved me, not the one who left me. He lifted her up and give her a hug. He left. Everyone in the company was moved to tears. But Chimela turned and walked out, his shoulders straight and unbending. That evening, back at his mansion, Chimela embraced his foster mother tightly. Mama, you are my mother. nothing will change that he turned to his foster father, the man who picked him from the bush papa. "You are my father, you gave me a second chance at life," as he held them. His heart finally found peace. He had forgiven the woman who birthed him. But in his soul, he knew the truth. Parents are not the ones who give you blood. They are the ones who give you love. And with that, the story ended with Chimela choosing love over blood. Lesson from the story. This story teaches us that parents are not only those who give birth to you, but those who raise you with love, sacrifice, and care. Forgiveness is powerful. Forgiveness does not mean that you will allow them close to your life. Forgive them and let them go. No matter how painful your beginning, your ending can be beautiful if you stay focused and determined. Remember, your past does not define your future. Lesson from the mother who abandoned her baby from Ngozie's actions. We learn that fear and shame can destroy lives. Because she was young and afraid, she almost killed her own destiny. Her son, who later became great. Choices have consequences. The mistakes she made followed her for life. Even when she begged for forgiveness, her son could not fully accept her back. Never let temporary shame push you into permanent regret. If she had faced her situation with courage, she would not have carried a lifetime of guilt. The lesson is clear. Don't let fear make you abandon your responsibility. What you reject today might be the very blessing God sent to change your future. If you enjoy the story and you don't want to miss our next interesting story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you will get notified